Good morning, students. In the last video, we have seen up to the classification of hydraulic turbine. Now, in this video, I am going to share you the construction and working of the Pelton turbine. What are its components, its working, and then the velocity triangle. And after that, we will see the numerical based on the Pelton turbine. Now, if you just look at into the diagram or in the slide, there are major four components of the Pelton turbine. Now remember, Pelton turbine is a type of impulse turbine, and the name impulse come from as the water jet directly strikes the bucket, so the name is impulse, and the turbine name is Pelton, which is the inventor of the turbine. Now if you just look at into the diagram, the very first part is the nozzle and the spear assembly. Now nozzle, as you know, the nozzle is used to generate a jet of water with high velocity, so that the water will impinge on the bucket at its middle and it will start rotating. Now normally, if you see, depend upon the size of the turbine, there are more than 2 nozzles used in each turbine. Now there are various calculations available to calculate the number of nozzles required as per the turbine. Now the nozzle, in the first part, nozzle and the spear assembly, the needle spear is provided in the nozzle to regulate the water flow through the nozzle. Also it provides smooth flow of water with negligible loss of energy. Now this spear is simply a conical needle which can move in axial direction by operating the wheel either manually or automatically. Now this spear, now if you just remember, in our lab we have a setup of this Pelton turbine. Now there the hand operated spear is there. So by just rotating that wheel, the spear can be reciprocate and the water going out of the nozzle can be easily controlled. Now when the spear, normally when the spear is moved in the forward direction into the nozzle, it reduces the nozzle exit area, hence the quality of water flow striking the buckets is reduced. If the spear is moved backwards, it increases the flow rate of the water. The nozzle converts the potential energy of water into kinetic energy before jet strikes the bucket. Now pressure and the exit of the nozzle is reduced to atmospheric pressure. That means there is no such a pressure difference, only while passing through the nozzle the velocity is increased, because if you just look at the water stored into the dam is normally at the atmospheric pressure. Just while flowing from that dam to the penstock bend, the pressure is little bit increased, and after that it will again reduce to the atmospheric pressure. Now the next important main part of the impulse or Pelton turbine is runner and its bucket. Now the runner, the turbine rotor, which is also called as runner, is simply a circular disc fixed with the bucket. Now it is provided with cylindrical boss and keyed to the supporting shaft in the small thrust bearing. Now the runner carries cup-shaped bucket more than 15 in numbers, which are mounted at the equidistance around its periphery. Now the buckets are either cast integrally with the circular disc, or these are bolted individually to the runner. Now this is the main difference. Previously the runner and the runner and its vane, that is bucket, is a complete casting, but if suppose there is a one more damage of the bucket, then we have to reject the whole casting, so that can be replaced. This concept is just replaced by, now the buckets are bolted to the runner individually, so that any of the damage of that bucket can be easily replaced just by replacing one bucket. Now this is the advancement. Now the buckets are normally made up of cast iron, cast steel, specially steel or stainless steel, with inner surface polished to reduce friction losses of the water jet. That means the bucket area, the bucket of the runner are made very smooth, so that there is a minimum friction loss. Now the type of metal used for bucket depends upon the head at the turbine inlet. Now the shape of the bucket is double hemispherical cup or bowl. Each bowl of the bucket is separated by a wall called splitter. Now the water which is coming out of the nozzle, it's striking the splitter, remember this, and because of that it will get divided to two equal parts. Now the next again there in the next upcoming numeric formula list, I will explain you how the dimensions of the that splitter are given in the formula. That means how what is the depth of the bowl, what is the notch of the bowl, what is the width of the bucket, length of the bucket, etc. Now the next important part of the Pelton turbine is casing. Casing is simply used to avoid the any accident, and another use is to avoid the splashing of the water. Now the lead of the water tail rest, again it's a safeguard person against the accident. This is simply a working of casing. Now next important is the braking jet. Now if you just look at into the diagram, the another braking jet, if you see into the diagram, the braking jet is provided which is mounted back of the bucket. Now what is the use of that? Whenever we have to stop the turbine, so at that time we directly just can't reduce the turbine in water inlet, and we can't just directly stop the turbine. So to do that, the braking jet is used. So whenever turbine is brought to rest, the nozzle is completely closed by pushing the forward the spear. However, the runner continues to rotate due to its inertia for a considerable period of time till it comes to rest. In order to bring the runner to stop in a shortest time, a small nozzle is provided which issues the water jet and falls on the back of the bucket. It acts as a hydraulic brake for reducing the speed of the runner. So this is the main function of the braking jet. So these are the main four components. So just remember, when if the question comes in the exam, let explain the construction working of the Pelton turbine. So these are the four main components of the Pelton wheel or Pelton turbine that you have to write. Now the main specific features of the turbine are: the power generation is about 400 megawatt, the speed ranges from 65 to 800 rpm, efficiency is about 85%, the runner diameter is from 0.8 to 6 meter, the operational head is 15 to 1800 meters. Then the next main components you can see. Then in this diagram you can just clearly see that the water is striking at the splitter at the middle of the bucket, so that it will divided into two parts. So this is the, if you just look at in the next part I will explain that also. Now the next main important part that we will study, that is the velocity triangle and work done for the Pelton wheel. Now as you know, for the velocity triangle I have already explained that there is the only difference between the steam turbine and water turbine is that the we have to replace the steam by water. But for the only Pelton wheel, there is a big change at the inlet velocity triangle, that as I explained earlier, the water strikes the bucket at the middle of the water strikes the blades at the middle of the bucket, that is at the splitter, which split up the jet into two parts. These parts of the jet glides over the inner surface and come out at the outer edge. Now as shown in the diagram, the splitter is the inlet tip. The splitter is the inlet tip, and outer edge of the bucket is the outer tip of the bucket. Now the inlet velocity triangle is drawn at the splitter, and the outlet velocity triangle is drawn at the outer edge of the bucket by the same method as we have seen earlier. Now just remember, for the steam turbine I have explained that we are using the velocity symbol C. That means if I am saying C1, so that is the absolute velocity. If it's a CR, it is the relative velocity. Now for the hydraulic turbine we have to use the symbol V for the velocity. Now remember, V symbol whenever you are using, so that is for the water, and whenever you are using U symbol, that is for the runner and the buckets. Now in case of velocity triangle, you can see that we have this we have to define this thing. So let V1 is the absolute velocity of water at inlet, VR1 is the relative jet velocity relative to the vane at inlet, then VW1 VF1 are the wheel component and flow velocities at the inlet, Now remember, velocity is only responsible for the work done on the turbine, and the respective angles for them are alpha and theta. So alpha and theta are the inlet velocity triangle. Now, as I have explained earlier, alpha is the absolute velocity of the jet at inlet angle, that is you can say as a guide angle also, and theta is the relative velocity angle, that we can say as a vane angle also. By just reading it you can understand easily. And similarly for outlet velocity triangle, v2, vr2, vw2, vf2, phi and beta, these things are there. Now just remember, the n is the speed of the wheel in rpm. Now as there is only single wheel in the turbine, so there is no change, so u1 is equal to u2. Remember this thing, that u1 is equal to u2. Now let small d is the diameter of the jet and capital D is the diameter of the wheel. Now as the diameter is same for the runner, so velocity of the runner at inlet and outlet is same, and we can calculate this by using simply formula pi d n upon 60. So this formula we have to use to calculate the value of u1. Now if you just look at into the velocity triangle at inlet, you can just see this is the water jet striking at the splitter. So there is no angle at the inlet, that's why it's just a straight horizontal line. So because of that, that's a result, the water coming at absolute velocity v1 is directly have a impact of vw1. So we can, looking at the diagram, we can write it as v1 is equal to vw1, and by the simple u1 we can calculate by using this formula. So how to calculate this vr1? So to calculate vr1 we can use v1 minus u1, or we can write it as vw1 minus u1, that we can calculate by this formula. We can calculate the value of vr1. So as the vw1, that means whatever the water is stacking at the bucket, that will be directly converted on the work done, that is vw1 is equal to v1. Now the after, and vr1 is nothing but the water which just passing relative to the blade surface. Now after striking at the splitter edge, the water will go out at the outer tip of the bucket and leaves with this same velocity triangle which we have seen previous. So this vr2 and vr1 having one relation relative to the blade surface, that means how much is the smoothness of that blade surface. Looking at that we have to write the relation between that. So we have vr2 is equal to k times vr1. Now k is equal to, it's a blade friction coefficient, and as the water is coming straight to the bucket, so that as a result of that, alpha is also equal to 0 and theta is also equal to 0. Remember, this is the main important thing which we have to remember. Now we have to find the work done equation for this. So by use of this we can write, if you just remember the outlet velocity triangle, same relation is there which we have studied in the steam turbine. vw2 is equal to vr2 cos phi minus u2. Now how we are writing this equation? Just separately write first cos phi. What is cos phi? Now here is your phi, and cos is nothing but your u2 plus vw2 upon u2 plus vw2 upon vr2. So write this expression as u2 plus vw2 upon vr2. So vr2 is multiplied here, so vr2 cos phi is equal to u2 plus vw2, and as a result just transfer this u2 on this side, we will get vw2 is equal to vr2 cos phi minus u2. Now depending upon the magnitude and peripheral speed, the unit may slow. The unit may have slow, medium and fast runner. That is the angle beta. This angle beta have three conditions, that whether this beta is less than 90 degree, equal to 90 degree and greater than 90 degree. If remember, if the VW2 is, that is if the beta is less than 90 degree, your value of VW2 is negative. If it is equal to 90 degree, the value of VW2 is 0, and if it is greater than 90 degree, then the value of VW2 is positive. That means which sign we have to take, that we have to remember by this using formula. Now the force exerted by the jet in the direction of motion is given by, now this is force is equal to rho a v1. Now what is this rho a v1? This area into velocity is nothing but discharge, and if you multiply it by density, we will give the mass flow rate. And if you multiply this mass into the momentum, so rate of change of momentum, we will get the force applied on that. Now why we are taken here the VW sign positive? Because the beta is less than 90 degree, and as a result of that the sign of VW2 is negative, and that minus and minus will get plus. If remember the value of VW2, that is beta is greater than 90, then the sign of VW2 is positive, and here the sign comes minus. So based on that we have to change our formula. Now once you calculate the force, the work done is nothing but force into distance, and after applying this much force on the turbine, the runner is rotating by the speed u. So we will get work done per second by jet is equal to W is equal to force into the distance traveled. So as a result we will get rho a v1 VW1 plus VW2 into U. So by this formula we can calculate the work done by the jet on the turbine. If you have to calculate the power, then just remove the mass and you will get the power formula. Now here are some design aspects of Pelton wheel which we have to consider while solving the numerical. The first one, you can see velocity of jet, that is v1. If the velocity, absolute velocity is not given, but the head and the coefficient of velocity is given, then we can calculate v1 is by using this formula. v1 is equal to cv into square root 2gh. So the value of cv ranges from 0.98 to 0.99. Then velocity of wheel u, we have seen one formula, that pi dn by 60, and another formula is u is equal to ku root 2gh. Now the value of ku range from 0.43 to 0.48. Remember, by using this formula we can calculate, by using these two formulae in the combination we can calculate the speed if not given. Then the angle of deflection of the jet. Now the angle of deflection, as you, if you refer the velocity diagram, that is the by which angle the after striking the water at the splitter, the water is completely deflected by 180 degree minus that angle of deflection. Now if that angle of deflection is not given in the numerical, then you can assume it as 165 degree. If it is not given, then mean diameter of the wheel, mean, and remember that angle of deflection, if it is 165 degree, that means by the Z rule, if you just look at into velocity triangle, by Z rule the angle phi comes 15 degree. That means in short, if it is not given, then we have to take phi as a 15 degree. Then mean diameter of the wheel d, that calculate using the runner velocity formula pi dm by 60. Now the jet ratio. Now what is the jet ratio? It is the ratio of pitch diameter, that is the runner diameter, to the Pelton to the diameter of jet, and it is denoted by m. So capital T by small d ratio is known as jet ratio. Normally it rises between 11 to 16. Now bucket dimensions that I've said that I will explain later. Now here are the things. Now the width of the blade is 3 to 4 times that of the diameter of the jet. The length of the bucket is 2 to 3 times that the diameter of the jet, and the thickness is from 0.8 to 1.2 times the diameter of the jet. Normally this thing will not required. If in case it is said, then the relation is given, so you don't need to worry about this. And this is the one more formula which we have to use, that is number of jets. Now normally Pentel wheel has nozzle or one jet, and to calculate this we have the number of nozzles are given, or else if you want to find the number of buckets, that means how many bucket we will require for mounting the bucket, then here's the formula. Z is equal to 15 plus D upon 2D. That means now D upon DS ratio is M, so we can write the formula as 15 plus 0.5 M. And one thing I forget, the number of jets is obtained by dividing the total discharge of the turbine by the rate of flow of water through the single jet. That means what is the total discharge of the turbine and to the jet of the discharge of the jet. So by that formula we can calculate the number of jets.